Welcome to Train Sim World 2, an immersive and highly detailed rail simulation featuring authentic routes and trains from around the world. You've just been awarded some action points. These are displayed in the top right corner of the screen and count towards your overall experience. It is necessary to be fully observant of the surrounding world. Practice by looking up, down, left and right. This is one of many interactives to be discovered, but not all of them will be as easy to find as this one. A lot of time will be spent. You can pause the experience at any point and review previous and current objectives. Check it out now and then return to the game when ready. A heads-up display has appeared on the right side of the screen. This is a guide to what the train is doing. This is the speed display. The white needle shows current speed. The red marker indicates the maximum permitted speed. This is the direction display. An arrow will indicate forward, reverse, and neutral directions. This is the power display. A number will indicate the position the power control is in. These are the brake indicators. They show the state of the various brake systems, allowing independent management of them. In the top right are the signal and speed limit displays. These feature an indication of what is approaching and a countdown distance to when they will come into effect. Some of these displays can be hidden via the settings menu for a more challenging experience. This train is ready to go. Push the The Riesa-Dresden main line runs for roughly 80 kilometers and runs both express and mainline passenger services, as well as a variety of freight from the local industries. Train Sim World 2 allows you to ride and drive from a selection of camera views. Let's take a look now while exploring this train. You've only explored a small area here, so let's take a look at what else there is to enjoy. Welcome to Dresden in eastern Germany, located in Saxony on the River Elbe. Experience a multitude of operations expanding out of the iconic Dresden Hauptbahnhof, with commuters and international travellers converging to make a hustle and bustle mix of S-Bahn, regional, intercity and freight traffic. Along the way, be sure to place route maps, restock first aid points, paint garden gnomes and clean up spray paint cans. Choose commuter or heavy freight traffic as you take a trip through the picturesque German countryside. Welcome to Riesa-Dresden.
Hello everybody and welcome to, and shall I say guten Abend. Hello everyone and welcome to our live stream for tonight. We are going to be previewing the Nahverkehr Dresden route, which is coming to you guys in the near future. You've just seen the route intro. Thanks very much to everybody who was watching away to that, and welcome to anybody who is watching us for the first time tonight. A few people mentioning about doing the intro when they'd probably done it a few times already for different other routes. We like to show it just in case there are new people in the audience watching, and then we like to give a little bit of an introduction to the route, as well as also some of the things you might pick up in terms of collectibles and all that kind of thing on the route as well. We'll be showing some of that stuff over the course of tonight. We will be doing a few bits and pieces for you. This is the first of 2 streams this week previewing the route. We'll be doing one on Thursday as well, which will be Matt and Sam. Tonight we are on a PC, and I noticed a few people were talking a little bit about choppy textures. I've asked Matt.
Honestly, that was not good. I don't know why. I mean, it's so no. I'm going to look into why my laptop is running this so badly. This is what we call a shipping build. It's not the final build, but it's a shipping level build, so it shouldn't have any of the debugging stuff going on that some of the other ones do. So I don't know why my machine is running it like this. So let's bear with it and see how it goes. Might be it was just a route intro.
Yeah, we'll make sure that, as I say, we take a look at some of this stuff if it is choppy or if we're seeing anything at all. We might see if we can put an FPS counter as well on as well during the.
Yeah, I'll get that on once we get going.
Cool. Matt, apparently you are half volume, so it might be worth you jumping up your audio whilst I do a quick little spiel at the start. So this is the second. This is the second of our rush hour routes. So obviously the first of which was the Boston Sprinter. I always say Boston Commuter. That's the wrong way around. The Boston Sprinter. For this particular route, we don't have a release date as of yet, but as soon as we do, we will of course let you know. There's an article that we put live earlier today which showcases the locos that you'll be able to get with the pack or the add-on. So we'll be going over those in the stream today, but if you want to take a little bit more get a little bit more information about them, then you are more than welcome to. It's on the website now. Just a quick PS4 update as well, because I know a few people are kind of on tenterhooks for that one. We are working with Sony. We've reached out to a few individual players who we know are still having a few issues, and we will be going back to Sony, and they'll hopefully be taking a look and see if there's anything wrong their end and hopefully fixing it. But as I say, it's still an ongoing process yet. In terms of collector's editions and disc editions, we have something hopefully that will be coming later this week. So keep your eyes on forums for an update on that one. So Matt, tell us a little bit about what we're going to be doing tonight.
Okay, so let's start with just a quick run through. I know everyone wants to know what the services are, what trains will run, so we'll have a look at that first, and we'll have another look at it later on. I'm sure out of this stream you will have more questions. There is a thread on the forums. Put your questions in the thread, and then we can try and get to them and answer more next time. So relatively quick run through, because I want to spend more time in the train, to be honest. Then we're going to have a nighttime run out of Dresden towards Riesa in the BR146. And then we're going to have an intercity BR101 run eastbound, and we're going to do that one during the day, so you've got a bit of variety. And we'll climb over those. When we do the BR101 run, there is a BR363 in DB Blue sat in Riesa Station that we can go and have a climb over, so you can have a look at it. We won't be driving it in this stream, but I know people are keen to see. Yes, this DB Blue BR363 does come in the pack, and is usable in service mode in one of the scenarios. Do you want to say something?
Oh no, I was just going to say that we're really excited to bring you this particular route. I know it's had a little bit of a rocky start in terms of us being able to kind of bring it to you, but we're really looking forward to kind of showcasing this route. And there's a lot of interesting stuff that comes with this particular route. A few things that hopefully we'll be able to show you tonight, a few things hopefully we'll be able to show you on Thursday, and a few things you'll find out for yourself when and if you take the plunge and get it, or if you've got the season ticket, in which case you will get it as soon as it's downloaded. So yeah, we're going to take a look through it today. In the interest of us not clogging up your screens, we are going to turn off our audio because I realise apparently my audio is slightly out of sync as well. So we'll be turning off our face cam so you can get the full experience. Should we do that now, Matt?
Yep, I'll go and turn the cameras off right now. Thelonious has just asked, what can you say about substitution and layers, both here and back as deals? Hang on. It scrolled up. Oh, both here and back on other routes. So I'm not sure what you're referring to on other routes. In this case, there is a layer for the BR101 and there is a layer for the ICE 3M coming out of Cologne. So all of you have got the Cologne route, so the ICE 3 will be there for everybody. But you'll need to own Hauptstrecke Rhein-Ruhr and the BR101 DLCs in order to be able to use that. Yes. But if you've got those, there is a layer to add both of those in there as well. There is some substitution. In fact, let me quickly run through. So BR363 comes in a pack, has a few services it can do, moving tank cars around, and basically runs between non-crits or Weissig depot and Riesa. BR146.2 runs primarily S1, I think, but it's on a variety of stuff. BR143, again, I think primarily runs S2, although it can deputise in a number of places. Dostos, the cab car you'll find all over the place. 185.5 in MRCE livery is your freight loco for this journey. The 112 coming from Hamburg-Lübeck substitutes in a number of places. The BR101 DLC comes in and adds the intercity service layer. The BR182 comes in and subs in actually as a passenger train. So this is the first time you've been able to use this loco on another route in service mode without other mods and so forth. So good to see it here. This is legitimately another place it actually is used. Then you've got the ICE 3M coming from the Cologne route. This is deputising as an ICE T and is running the services normally run by the ICE T. But it does mean that you get an ICE type experience out of the box. And then lastly, the 3-car Talent 2 that runs a few different, I think 2 or 3 different types of services. So there's a fair different variety of services in each of those. If I go to the Talent 2, you can see... ignore these start times, by the way. I've noticed that in this build, for some reason these start times are all out of whack. I don't know why. I will chase that up. But you can see that there's a variety of different services that are programmed in for the Talent 2, looking RE50, 18, RB31, and so forth. On the 146, you've got S1, some of the RE50s, but pretty much that's your variety of trains. Again, ignore these start times. BR143, S2s, a couple of RE50s, an occasional RE18. So again, there's a bit of variety in terms of what they do, where they stop. The freight trains are in each direction, full-length runs. And your BR101 is either going westbound or eastbound, but it'll be going via the avoiding line rather than the normal passenger route, which means it's an express run. And then the ICE 3, again, same sorts of runs. It's going to be doing the avoiding line, eastbound or westbound. So I think let us...
Just a quick follow-up to that, Matt. Will these layers and substitutions be available for PS4, Xbox One, as well as next-gen consoles?
At this time, they're in the builds that we're preparing and testing. But I'm not going to guarantee they stay in there. This is what we are testing at the moment. But we are aiming for them to be in there, and we will confirm that.
Cool. Yes, we've got a stream on.
It's looking good. We're just not finally signed off at the moment on that.
Cool. Someone, Mikey, was asking about the fact that we've included the ICE3. Does that mean an ICET isn't being considered currently?
We've got nothing to say about whether an ICE is or isn't being done, but we thought, regardless of whether we do an ICET, it seemed a shame to not have ICE services in this one, given the ICE, everyone's got it. Yeah, we thought we would put it in November. Thank you, Ed. So yes, That doesn't mean it isn't being considered. I'd love to get an ICT on it, but we haven't got any. I can't say it is being considered either. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think the answer to that one is the same as we say on quite a lot of streams. If it's not currently on the mode map, on the roadmap, it's not something that we're currently working on. So at the moment, it would, well, by extrapolation, it's not something that's currently sort of on the map at the moment. Which, but again, never say never on some of these things. There will be opportunities, I'm sure, in the future to perhaps do something like that. As we said with the Boston Sprinter route as well, we're laying the groundwork here to be able to do other things with the route should we want to in the future.
Yeah. Someone's asked if there's LZB on this route. No, there isn't. The bypass line isn't a high-speed line. It's just a bypass line. And the maximum speed limit on that is 160, I remember rightly. Right.
Awesome. Okay, before you get started, Matt, can we get the FPS counter up, please?
Yeah, sure.
Lovely. I don't want to distract you whilst you're in the middle of driving.
No, that's fine. So the first thing is removable reversers. So the BR146.2 has been, by and large, gutted. New sounds, new physics, so it should be. You should notice the difference on that. A lot of the trains have had fairly significant physics and audio refreshes, at least on them. Physics have been completely redone in a lot of cases. I think the BR143 has had the most substantial update, but the 146.2 has had a fairly substantial update as well. All the wagons have been completely redone, and so again, you should see wagon physics significantly better. Right, okay, let me put the train lights on.
Just quickly, Matt, as well, because we've obviously made changes to these particular locos. Obviously, these locos are usable on lots of other routes as well. Will those changes be reflected in those routes as well, if you wanted to use these locos?
If you use these locos, but if you use the MSB version of the 146.2, it hasn't been upgraded to the level of this one yet. But you could use this loco on that route, I guess, via Scenario Planner.
Cool. Let's have a quick look. We've got loads of questions, by the way, everyone. We will try and cover as many as we can. We did put a thread together on the forums, and there's a few questions from that. I think we've already answered some of them, to be honest with you. But we will try and do what we can. We will kind of have segments where we try and cover sort of 3 or 4 questions in one go, and then we'll kind of go back to talking about the route in a little bit more detail. So we'll try and structure it like that. We will obviously jump in if we see anything particularly important to mention to you. But obviously we are starting at night. And one of the things that has been mentioned in one of our dev blogs is the new lighting that we want to be sort of talking about in relation to the Riesa-Dresden route, or sorry, the Nahverkehr Dresden route. Can you tell us a little bit about that, Matt? Because I know that's one of the things that we really wanted to show.
The team assisted quite considerably, actually, by some contractors, some second-party developers. I talk about these first, second, third-party thing. Second party being someone that works on stuff for us. So I think people might know Lucas and Ed have actually helped the team, and they've gone through and done some really good work. And one of the things they helped the team with was the night lighting side of things. So let me just get AFB active.
RSB, RSB,
40.
RSB.
Right, now we can get going. So yes, so as you'll see, as we go out here, you'll see the night lighting experience is really quite different to what you've seen before.
I think it'd be really great, Matt, if we were able to get, well, after this live stream, maybe we can. I think we've got another article potentially in the plan for this route. It'd be nice to perhaps get a before and after screenshot. I think that'd be quite good.
Yes. Right. So, as you can see, first thing is this is all really, really well lit outside here in the corridor. In front of Dresden Hauptbahnhof.
Oh, I love this. Already I'm sold.
So there's I think my favourite scene of this route is as we cross the River Elbe, and you look across and you see the old town, the old city, and it just looks stunning. Absolutely stunning. Right, so let's... Okay, don't need to acknowledge that one, clearly.
And just in terms of that new lighting, is that something that we will look to add to all future routes? Will it be put on kind of older routes? Is it something that we can just kind of drag and drop, or is it something that needs to be worked out in relation to each individual route?
Oh no, this is custom authored per route. There's a lot of work gone into the placing the lights, setting the lights up. Some of it about the way the environment lighting works is something that we can look at. So we have a new time of day system which tidies up some of the problems with the night light, with just generally the sequence of the lights. So we can look at that. But all the lights you're seeing around here and the way they're placed, that's an authoring thing. So that's work that needs to be done.
Okay, cool.
So you can see this sort of scape of lights in front of us, and the different colours of lights on the stations. The headlights on these trains also extend a bit further than they have done previously. But one of the things I'm hoping you've all picked up on is that these white signs are all shining way ahead in the distance. They're actually effectively acting as if they're reflective.
Like cat's eyes.
Yeah, they're like, I mean, they are reflective in reality, and it just means that you can see more stuff going on. It feels much more like you're moving, you can. It works quite nicely.
Cool. And when we were talking about the different routes, obviously you've got Boston Sprinter, which is primarily kind of a wintry route. What kind of route are we looking at for Dresden? Is it something that's kind of assigned to a kind of specific time of year, or is it something that we've kind of just we'll just make it kind of a more kind of ubiquitous with that?
So the theme for this route is autumn.
Okay, autumn. Okay.
So obviously the route should look good all year round, same as any other route. But the theme for the built-in gameplay is very much around the autumn side of things. Again, as I said previously in the streams, we wanted to pick a different theme for each one so that the routes are visually different more than just being in a different location. So they have a theme to them. Like I said, there's nothing to stop you running this one in winter or summer, or Boston in winter, in summer or autumn. All the seasons are still available, but the team have put some extra effort into just making sure these seasons look good.
Cool. We've had a few people ask about PIS as well, and obviously we've gone past a few stations and we've seen the PIS at the moment. What are the current plans for the PIS?
So PIS is in, it's working. Where you didn't see it work in the route intro is same as always. They don't work in scenarios and tutorials. They only work in service mode, because only service mode actually provides all the information needed to bring the PIS into being, essentially. We haven't yet worked out a way of doing that in a much more tutorials and scenarios, much like in other train sims and TS1. You author the trains that you want to see, whereas PIS you need to author all the trains you're not going to see and so forth, so that you bring all the PIS to life. So that's something that the team haven't got to yet, but certainly something that they're aware of. So, but at the moment, the PIS works properly in service mode. Sorry.
Cool. So there was a couple of questions about PIS actually. So Bob Bird, I hope that's pronouncing it right. Will the route have ghost stations so the PIS and the trains will show the correct end destination and numbers? S1, Schurner, Meisen. Here's the first German try.
So this train is going to Leipzig, Bahnhof, so it should show up as Leipzig on PIS. We'll check that. It's on the list of things. There's no reason for it not to be able to do that. So if it's not doing that, then I'll add it on the list of things we need to fix.
I think, as I say, anybody who is German who is listening, I'm going to apologise in advance for any of the pronunciation that you hear over the course of this live stream. Me, myself and Matt, obviously, we are not German. We will do our best, but you can laugh at us if we don't get quite right what we should get right. So we'll do our best. Yeah, you can have a little bit of a laugh at our expense, us Brits trying to speak a different language.
Crossing the River Elbe here, and this is my favourite scene at night. I think Ed crafted this, and it just looks spectacular. So this will actually brighten up as we go along on this journey, and we're going to do the second run in the daytime. So don't worry, you're going to see the route in the daytime. But because night lighting has been significantly improved on this, we kind of want to. It's one of the single biggest visual differences to routes that have gone before, and we kind of wanted to show it off. To be honest, it's marvelous.
Yeah, we will be doing it in the daytime as well, but we wanted to do this one first. Given that it's the evening as well, we thought we'd start off with it being darker outside as the nights start to roll in. So we've talked about the locos that are included, and Matt, you were talking about some of the amendments that have been made to some of the locos as well that are going into this pack. Because I think one of the things that has been talked about a fair amount is the fact that if you currently own a lot of the locos already, there's not an awful lot that's perhaps new for you. Obviously, if you don't have all of the locos already, then great, you're getting some stuff thrown in, which is brilliant. But in terms of the actual locos themselves, we've done quite a lot of work on the well, I suppose kind of gutting it, I suppose was the phrase that you said, and kind of almost restarting some of the things. So I wondered if you could just tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so the physics was actually someone from the forum, the community forum, who was providing some really interesting insights on the forum posts, and so I invited him to come along and join the beta group, and he's been providing some really great feedback to the team in terms of this is Dresden Neustadt station, by the way. It's a particularly awesome station. It'll be even better when you see it at night as well. Sorry, at daytime as well. So yeah, he's been providing some really great feedback, and with his help, we've been taking the opportunity to completely redo the physics in all the wagons, completely redo physics in most of the locos. So, for example, one of the things that I've seen some people asking about is this switch back here, the GPR switch, brake mode selector. That switch mode now works, and if I go down onto the Dostos, I think this was on the Hamburg route as well, but if you go down onto the Dostos, and they're possibly below the platform. Oh, here they are. These switches work as well, so the distributor cut-off, the distributor release valve, and the brake mode selector on the coaches works, and all of the wagons now have them working modes as well, so you can do a mode switch. So if you've got less than 600 tons, you could switch it into the fast mode, P is it? And if you've got more, then you put some of it. I think between 600 and 850 tons, you put it in. You put the first 5 in G and the rest in P, and then if you've got more than 850, you put the whole thing in G mode. So that gives you, you can now do that. You don't have to, but you can do. Tell you another neat thing you can do is if you want to just role play a little bit and say the brake on this is dragging. What you can do is cut it out. Vent it. Right, that brake will now no longer function on this particular coach. Get all the air out of that. Right, so that's now released the brake on that particular vehicle, and the brake won't function on that, but it'll function on the rest of them. So, it's so you can make believe faults on the train and apply.
That's nice. I like that kind of little additional bits and pieces that are being thrown in. I do remember something similar with Hamburg. I don't know if it's exactly the same, but I remember us being able to do something down the side of the train. I can't remember exactly what it was.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, that does say Riesa on the front, so I need to find out why that says Riesa and not Leipzig.
Someone saying on the chat, big lighting improvement. The difference is night and day. I like it.
Dear.
Thanks, Edsel.
That's... ouch. You think I'm going to regret that? Yeah, probably. I regret most things I do, to be honest, shortly after I do them. Or more often than not, a long time after I do them, when I have no idea what it's gone wrong. And I'm just sitting there going, why do you hate me? And actually it was me. So we're swinging left now after Neustadt station, and we're turning northwest, and we'll be heading towards Riesa. You can see Radable here. This is Coswig, although we will be turning off. No, actually we carry on this way via Coswig up the traditional lines. This is the line that then goes from Priestwitz up to Grosenhain, or continues via Globitz up into Riesa. up here, and then this is where you'll be doing the shunting with the 363.
Nice. So we just did a quick show of the route map. We'll show that again before the end of the stream, so you can see it all kind of in one screen if you would like. But yeah, you can see that there's quite a lot of complexity, I would say. There's a lot of variety and a lot of different things that are going on. And I assume, again, with this being a rush hour route map, we're talking kind of all the rush hour features as well that come alongside that. So the passengers, more locos on the or more trains on the route as well, and everything that kind of you would expect or you might have seen already with Boston.
Yeah, I mean it's a busy route. There's plenty going. One of the key things with this is the variety of things that are going on. You've got so many different trains doing so many different things, which is really interesting. But then you'll have seen already that the platform's crowded with passengers.
Yeah. Just quickly, what graphical settings are you running it on, Matt, tonight, and what's your setup?
So this is my laptop. It's a 2070 mobile GPU and an i7 9th generation mobile processor, and it's got and I'm running it at ultra settings, so I'm getting about 60 FPS now. So.
Cool.
So I don't know if you've noticed, again, you see all the boards lighting up here. See, normally they would not be visible until they're about here. Yeah, so all these boards you can see lighting up in the distance would not be any visibility there whatsoever.
Nice. Can we do? We've talked about sounds. Can we do a horn, please? Wake everybody up who is currently going to bed. And I can't remember where you said we were just outside Neustadt. Everyone that's outside is currently woken up. I live not too far from a train line, and I get horns at all times of night, which is always fun. Yeah, the stream quality isn't the strongest tonight, I have to admit. I think we are running teams at the same time as well, and that might have a little bit of an impact. The best indicator in terms of performance you're going to see is the FPS counter just on the top right. So we're kind of fluctuating between about 50 and 60 at the moment, which is hopefully a good indicator that it's actually teams or XSplit rather than actually the route itself. Okay, in terms of German signalling, all that kind of stuff, we've touched on this on previous German routes. Is there anything to mention about signalling on this route?
Yes, I believe the Riesa end of this route, this route switches over and uses an older style signalling called HL, and it's a bit more complicated than the normal one. So that's why we're going to do a tutorial stream on the HL signals. There's I think 12 or 14 different aspects. It's similar to what you'll know, so it's not completely alien, but it's got some additional things. You'll be like, so hang on, what's that row of yellow lights mean below the signal that I'm familiar with? So, but once you get the hang of it, just like all the other signals, it's straightforward enough. It's literally telling you how fast to go.
Nice. So we will be doing, so you might have seen on the schedule this week we have a US signalling live stream. If you are interested in finding out a little bit more about US signalling, Matt does a really great job of being able to make it easier for idiots like myself to understand. So if you're interested, it's on Friday evening, 7 UTC or 19 UTC. If you're interested, we'll be doing a similar one for German signalling after this route has been released. And quick bit of admin, livery designer compatible as well, all of the locos in this.
Yes. Yeah, livery designer compatible. In fact, someone was just asking about the pixelation problem. Yeah, Mystic Xeno was asking about the pixelation problem. Team's aware of it. Someone is working on it to figure out. I think a couple of people actually have been working on that. That one has confounded the engineers, but that is being worked on with priority. Cool.
Do we have a number for the amount of services on the route? Because there are, I imagine, quite a few.
350, I think. Playable. I can't remember what. I think it's just over 1,000 in total, including all the non-playable services, but it's 350 playable.
Wow. And what's the service pattern like?
Well, it represents S1, S2, S3, RE15, RE18, RB30, I think it is, or 38. I can't remember now. RE50. So there's quite a variety of services in there, because each one is like hourly or once every 2 hours. So you mix them all together, and then that's where you get the variety. And that's what was important, that this pack wasn't like one brand new big train with one or two supporting trains. It needed all these trains to give you that sort of decent experience out of the box without relying on you owning lots of other DLC. So that was the important thing here, was to make it so that it just ran. It could all be built in out the box and work.
Yeah, absolutely. A couple of people have asked about the lighting effects. I think Matt kind of half answered beforehand in terms of this is kind of a bespoke option for this particular route. It's obviously something that we're, given the fact that we're showing it off at the start of the stream, we're quite proud of it, but it's not something that can be just clicked and dropped into other routes. It's something that needs to be worked on as part of that route. So if we get really lovely feedback from it, and obviously there is a discussion to be had about how much time it takes versus how what the end product looks like, we will if you're enjoying it, obviously that's something that we'll take back to kind of our planning sessions and kind of how we scope out a release like this. And it's something that, again, if we're seeing lots of positive feedback and you guys wanting more of this kind of thing, then we'll try and make sure we take a look and see if what we can do for other routes as well. Not necessarily routes that have already been released, but potentially new routes, I would imagine.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, let us know what you think when you play it and you get used to it. Tell us what you think. There's an element of artistic flair to doing this, rather than just logical scientific method approach and so forth. So it's tell us what you think about it and how we can improve it. Things like the reflective signs can probably go on to other routes as we make new routes. And like I said, the new sky system can potentially be put onto new routes as we make them. So some of this stuff is in sort of discrete blocks, but like the placement of all of the lights, which is a key part of this. There's a lot of work gone into placing the environment lights and lighting up everything around the route, and making sure that the buildings are lit up in a sensible way. That's a key part of it, and that has to be done on the route as you make it. It's essentially another pass on the route.
Yeah, and there are a couple of people that have asked if it was Brighton or the London commuter route as well. I imagine we'll probably cover this during those preview streams, but again, I would imagine from what Matt was saying earlier in terms of being kind of offering things that are slightly specialised to each route in rush hour, I would imagine that for the time being this is something that's just being worked on for this particular route rather than the rest of them as well.
I mean, obviously
Matt,
it'd be great if all the routes had all the benefits, and we haven't sat back and really thought about what was involved in doing this, and and how would we start replicating that in an efficient way. I know some changes have already taken place on the Brighton route, some of the learnings, and I imagine things like these reflective signs, I don't see why they wouldn't come across. But at the moment, let me not make any promises I might not be able to keep.
Yeah, that's our mantra, isn't it? Let's not throw down things and make big statements that we know we can't actually deliver, or that there is a chance that we might not deliver. Yeah. Okay, so a couple of people asking about stream being a little bit laggy. Yeah, we apologise, guys. If you can see the FPS counter in the top right hand corner, you can see it's not actually the performance on the PC, it's just us running a few things at the same time, and potentially the streaming software not necessarily playing ball with us. So apologies, we will try our best to make sure next week. So this is on PC, we'll probably do a console later on in the week.
Yeah, we'll do Xbox on Thursday.
Cool. All right, let's take a quick look. I was going to come on to ballast.
Fun HL signals, and I'm going to have to go and someone's going to have to remind me what this one means. But you see, it's green yellow, and it's got this other signal down the bottom here. So that's telling me a thing that I can't remember.
Telling me a thing.
A thing. I'm already running pretty slow, so I'm sure I'm fine. 40. 4B kilometres. 40 kilometres now. Okay, there you go. That would have been my guess, but only because of green yellow. Normally 40 kilometres an hour. If I remember rightly, isn't the green yellow with the green horizontal? Isn't that 60 kilometres an hour? Don't know. I need to prep up and read up on it before I get there.
A few people are asking about the voice on the train, the PIS system on the train. Is there a reason why we've chosen to go for a German voice rather than an English voice? There's just a question in the chat. I probably know the answer to this question, but I thought I'd put it to you anyway.
Oh, on the voiceovers.
Yeah.
To be honest, a lot of it was down to who we could get. By the time we actually wanted to, we realised we were late organising what was going on into these routes, and I think my wife did Boston. We were able to get someone we've used previously to help with the Brighton one, and this route has got the most VO we've ever done in anything, and so I didn't run away fast enough, basically.
Yeah. I can't actually. So Matt can hear everything that's going on in the train right now. I can hear nothing, so I cannot hear what's going on. I'm relying on everybody at home to tell me if it's sounding awesome and if you're enjoying the new sounds for this loco. So we have reworked the sounds quite a lot on some of the locos in this selection that we're going to be showing you tonight.
No, David, no, I don't think my wife definitely did the Boston route.
Okay, collectibles we've touched on briefly. I think that was right at the start. Collectibles, Matt, on this route?
Oh, now you're asking. I did tell you at the beginning of the
I can tell you if you like.
Go on then.
The spray paint cans.
Spray paint cans, yes. There's first aid kits. There's almost certainly a map. And there's probably a poster.
Yeah. Is there a reason why we chose the spray paint cans?
I don't actually know the answer to that one. I should go and find out. It was one of the other teams that decided on the collectibles. I suspect because we find quite a lot of graffiti in the area, and kind of like we make the collectible here to clean it up. I don't know why that PAS at Coswick isn't working. I've mentally made a note to find out why.
Yes. Don't worry, guys. It has been noted. It's on Matt's notebook of joy that he takes after some of these live streams where we notice things that perhaps we need to take another look at. We have to paint gnomes, apparently.
Paint gnomes, that's it. Paint gnomes. Map gnomes, paint cam, and medipack. There you go.
We'll have to see if we can find the answers as to why. I seem to remember somebody mentioning one of the stations in particular has a quite iconic piece of graffiti going as you go underneath the underpass.
Yeah, that's near Neustadt.
No, yeah. So maybe in the light we can see that one in real life. So maybe that's what the inspirations come from that one.
Right, Weinboulder is next. Weinboulder.
Weinbuchler. Buller. Let's go with that.
Buller. But I think you can see the normal nighttime driving experience isn't particularly satisfying, if I'm honest. And this route is actually really fun to drive at night.
Yes, I think
I'm running at it's running full screen, which is why it shows 64480. It's not running at 64480 though. It should be running at 1080p. Certainly streaming at 1080p.
So just going back to the announcement. So we were talking about the voiceovers. I think the player in question was talking about the PA system. and why that one might be in German. I think his assertion was that we've got quite a lot of English-speaking players that play the game. I think what I'd perhaps say to that one is this is obviously a German route. We try and make it as authentic as we possibly can do, and I think is hopefully you can see in the chat we have a lot of German players as well who want the most kind of authentic experience they can find. As I say, if you're a German player playing British route and you don't speak English, it's a similar experience. So it's just a case of, I think, us trying to be as authentic as we can be and being as I suppose sympathetic to the people who are living in that country and speak that language as possible, really.
Alright, I'll switch it to TAA next then, because I'm running FXAA. When I play it myself, I run it with the screen percentage turned up, but then I don't mind low frame rate, really. I don't mind having a low frame rate. But this machine starts hurting if I start dialing the screen percentage up, which is why I don't when I do these streams. But I'll switch it to TAA, which will kind of give you a bit of a halfway house.
Siefer.
A couple of people have suggested to perhaps put a translation of what is being said on screen. That might be a nice middle ground potentially if you had the option to, but again that feels like something that's something that will perhaps come with a core update or something that's quite a substantial update. So I don't think it would be some
for the train announcements like Siefer and that sort of thing.
I guess that's what I've interpreted from it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean we always model those authentically to whatever it says in the real cab. All right, let me. I will switch on TAA and I'll put VSync on. Walk through the map one more time, sure.
Yeah, well, yeah. I was going to say, Matt, would it be better perhaps maybe do it when we start the day route, possibly?
Oh yes.
So then we can run down. Yeah, so we can run down the route that we're going to be doing.
Yeah, it shows 64480 because it says full screen. It's on windowed. It's on windowed full screen, so this is irrelevant. So it's just following the operating system resolution, which is 1080p. Trust me, if it was 640 you'd know.
People are saying it looks better, so
TAA will make it look better. Without the benefit of screen percentage, yeah, TAA helps a lot.
Crazy Dash. I think we've touched on this beforehand. Night lighting and autumn updates. So there was a conscious decision with the Boston route to sort of fix it or theme it around winter. This is themed around autumn, and we'll come on to the Brighton route, London Brighton route when we come into it. But in terms of the lighting updates, we've said a couple of times this is kind of a bespoke approach that we've taken to this particular route. Is something that we would obviously, based on the reaction that we've seen tonight, love to do for more routes, but it's something that, as I say, requires quite a lot of bespoke content to be put into it. So it's something we'd have to weigh up versus what else we might want to be wanting to include within that route. So potentially is the answer to that, but it's not something that is it would be something that we'd put into new routes first before we would then go backwards with it.
Oh yeah.
It doesn't fit. It feels like something that's pretty substantial for something like Adam's preservation crew team to work on.
Possibly. They've got a lot of stuff to do, so.
Yeah. What are we? So how far are we along, Matt? How many more stations?
We're not too far now from Riesa.
Nice one. And what are we doing after this, just so that everybody is aware?
So after this, we'll be in daytime. So you'll be able to see a bit more of what's going on. And we're going to have a look. We're going to spawn on foot at Riesa, and we're going to have a climb over the BR 363 in DV Blue livery, and so you can see that. We're not going to drive it on this stream. I'll do that another time. But you'll be able to see it, and then we can. And then we'll be picking up an IC BR 101 and driving that all the way back via the avoiding line.
Nice.
Sifa.
Baby and kids. Not too far. Not too far is the same as saying we are nearly there. I'm just finding somewhere to park.
That's the one. Good man, baby
Yep.
and kids.
We've not got a release date for this yet. We will be as soon as we have it confirmed. We will be shouting it from the rooftops, though. I quite like how the night lighting looks on the passengers as well. Actually, I think that looks quite cool with all the shadowing and the way that they all move now. It makes them feel more, I suppose, human. If that's the right word.
It does make it feel a little bit more integrated into the scene, yes. No, the BR155 doesn't currently work on the route, Mr. Weirdbox. We need to have a look at that, and we need to be a little bit careful with substitutions, so we don't make it to where, having unlocked all the possible substitutions, the Xbox and so forth can't do anything with it now. So I don't want to hold anything back, but we need to be a little bit careful what goes where, and so we've aimed for a situation that should work everywhere to start off with, and then we can build on that hopefully in the future.
Julian's asked if we can get an interior view of the double stock at some point.
I'll do that. Maybe Switz.
Yep. And Sam's noticed the black and orange clothing seems to be everywhere at the moment. It's on Vogue. What are you talking about? No, it's something that we also have noticed as well. The orange and black clothing. So I think it's something that it might not be something that we immediately take a look at, but I think there was going to be some work, Matt, correct me if I'm wrong, done on sort of some of the randomization of the passengers.
Yeah, we are looking at that. I don't know if that'll make it for this release, but we're going to have a look at maybe make it to where some of the highly visible characters are less likely to be duplicated, or at least the character, the less the weather, the uniforms, outfits. That's the word I'm looking for. When the outfits are, if they're really brightly coloured, then we can maybe do less of those. The cab texture fixed for console players, flying pads. Aware of it. It's on the engineering team to look at. We're quite puzzled by that one at the moment.
Level crossings from floor to chips. Level crossings
the
working
level
on this route?
crossings should be working. I've seen them working in other places. Crank pink all the way up. Absolutely. See you later. So we're working our way up the avoiding line. Up the main line now, with the avoiding line sort of running alongside us, heading up for Pristwitz, which is where the line diverges for Grossenhain.
Cool. I think should we show the branch lines next? Or
we can show Grossenhain next time. Yeah.
Cool.
Favourite train to drive on this route? You see, I'm quite enjoying all of them. It's my usual useless answer, because if I want to do some shunting, the 363 is just an amazingly fun loco to drive. I like the BR146 because it just feels nice to drive, sounds nice, looks nice. And I don't know, I quite like the Talent too. I think some people I've spoken to have said it feels a bit boring to drive because it's quite straightforward. But it also feels like I gun it a bit harder and brake it a bit harder. I don't know. They all have their strengths. They're all different, and it really depends what mood I'm in. What's the nice thing again about this is that it caters for express passenger, stopping passenger, intercity, freight, and shunting. It's kind of got something for all interests in it.
Yeah, we're going to try and make sure that we cover a little bit of everything in these next two streams. Obviously, trying to cram it all into one is quite a challenge, but we'll try and over the next couple give you a good feel for all of the different diverse varieties of bits and pieces that you can get up to with this particular route. So the next stream is on Thursday, and that'll be Sam and Matt going over the route.
Sifa. Sifa.
I can't remember. Someone was asking about the Boston change, only Boston fixes. I think it's coming with the patch that would come with this route. I think obviously depends when the release is, to be honest. There will be things that we hopefully will be able to get in. There will be things that might take a little bit longer to sort. When we've got a confirmed list, we'll of course update them in the patch notes.
Yeah. There has been work going on in the background though, so there's definitely stuff going on. Been looking at all your feedback and making changes.
Yeah. Just taking a look at some of the questions in the chat. Something we mentioned right at the start of the stream was that there are services for 4 or 5 different locos in this route. I think it's
5.
I want to say
in this route.
5, yeah.
Or 5
I wanna say
drivable cabs. Let's say 5 drivable cabs. Rather than
a couple of
because
them.
you wouldn't call a cab car a loco.
That's true. There are a couple that will. The 101 requires you to have purchased Hauptstrecke Rhine Raw, I believe.
BR 101, you require Hauptstrecke Rhine Raw.
Yeah.
Yes.
So in order to use that, you'll need that route as well. But as I say, everything else I believe can work in isolation on this route.
Mystic Xenos, yes. In fact, I think in some places there's actually a law against using the your cab light while you're driving, because it causes, in reality, you turn the cab light on, you'll get reflections in the window in front of you, which is why they give a desk light, so that you can see what's going on underneath you a bit better. But yeah, you're not supposed to drive with your cab light on.
Same if you're driving a car, isn't it? You're not meant to drive with any interior lights on in your car, are you, for the same reason?
No, exactly.
A couple of questions, and this was actually mentioned by a couple of other players in the forum thread as well. In terms of, is it possible to change the destination board by the player correct? And that is reflected on the outside of the loco as well. Or we're going to show it. Oh,
I need to press another button to make that take effect. But let me do the stop.
You need to press OK, apparently.
There you go.
Hey, there we go.
And those destinations will be coming from the route, I think, if I understand it correctly. Which means you run this loco on Southeastern High Speed, and you'll be picking from the list of destinations on Southeastern High Speed.
For those people that haven't,
works awesomely.
Yeah, and if you haven't noticed already, you might be able to see that it's getting lighter. That's cool.
Slowly but surely, it's getting lighter.
So you can see kind of the full
coming up just about as we get into Riesa, which I think is what have we got next? Non-crits, Globits, and Riesa. Forgot to stop. Oh, we were going to have a look at the
obviously it would have been more helpful if we hadn't overshot a little bit, but here we go.
It's me driving, expect nothing less.
There we go. Very quick whistle stop tour. Athavan asks when is this being released. We don't have a date yet. So when we do, we will be shouting it loud and clear as much as we can.
You don't think it's Ultra 6? I thought it was. That says Ultra. Yeah, that's all on Ultra. Right. Non-crits, 10 kilometers. Well,
Matt,
it's 6:50 in the morning, which is a quieter time for service. But yeah, it is a bit on the quiet side. Our return burning the other way actually is at 11 o'clock. So
yeah, I was just going to.
Although we're on the avoiding line, so there'll be less to see even then on the avoiding line. I'll come up with some better examples to show you on Thursday.
Ian's asked, do the trains have working PIS?
In terms of what we just demonstrated up here, yes. If that's not what you mean, let me know what you mean. Is there any plans to fix PCB on the LeapSync 442 since it operates in U mode, not O? Have you tried resetting the mode? So Leap PCB, I can't remember what you need to do, whether it's turn it on, change the mode, turn it off and turn it on again. I think you need to reset it, because on the one hand it thinks it's in PCB mode O, but it runs like it's in PCB mode U, and you just have to reset it. I know it's on the list of things for the team to look at, but there is a workaround of some people driving it in PCB mode O.
So hey, there's another service.
Thailand 2.
So we'll get to non-crits. Again, apologies for pronunciation because I'm sure that's wrong. And then is it the next stop after that, Matt?
We've got non-crits, Globits, and then Riesa. So it's one extra. Right, this is the avoiding line coming in on the right-hand side, actually. We're journeying up now. It's just coming in on here. You can see the signal for it. Unfortunately, you can't see the line itself because it's not lit. But there you'll see here it is coming on the right-hand side. So this is the avoiding line merging now with us.
Oh, someone's just raided us. Hello, anybody that's just joined us on Twitch.
Oh, thank you, Rubco, for the raid. Welcome, Dutch Raiders. Will ICT get added to Riesa-Dresden? We've got nothing to announce on that front. It may or may not transpire in the future, but there's nothing to share at the moment on that.
And Crouching Tiger, Hidden Adam, fantastic name by the way. Is the stutter typical? No, it's not. As you can see, the FPS is decent on this route. It's a combination, I think, of Matt's poor laptop struggling to deal with a few things at the same time, and also being on a Teams call at the same time as well. So we'll be on a console for the next preview stream. Hopefully the performance will be a little bit improved.
Be on the console. I don't know why it's struggling like this on this machine, but it is. Oh no, I'll have to request a new computer. Oh no.
And Anthony, you've noticed something that I think we were going to be talking about in a little bit more detail when we get to the day route, is notice the route has new tracks.
Yes. So you can see it actually really here, the ballast, and we'll come to it. We'll talk about it again in the daytime when it's more easy to see. But you'll find that the ballast, there's two different types of ballast, and we've now got the tech to fade between different types of ballast, which means that you can have. So one of the criticisms on Southeastern High Speed, which should have two distinctly different colour ballasts, which we weren't able to do, was that wasn't done in the route. So actually, this route has got different colour ballast all over the place, and that's been represented. Why is it stopped?
Uh-oh. That's your laptop giving up the ghost.
No.
Oh, there we go.
It's just the stutter from heck. Wow.
Maybe it just didn't like you speeding, Matt.
Me speeding? No. Oh, apparently I was as well. Ooh, well. It's a shocker.
Sifa.
Working screens. Do you mean the Ebola, Jesse? No, we haven't done the Ebola yet.
So yeah, we have two live streams for this particular route, two preview streams this week. So Sam and Matt will be back with you on Thursday. We'll be trying to cover some of the bits and pieces that we weren't able to cover with this particular stream. Obviously, we've managed to do a nighttime run. We're going to do a daytime run, or at least part of a daytime run for you. And we want to show you the 363 as well in the new livery. We're going to try and answer as many questions as we can, and I think that's that's about it actually. But we will be with you at least for another sort of 45 minutes or so, I reckon.
Yeah. Time to close the doors.
Oh, Genetic Values asked a good question. Is adding in carriage PIS more difficult than other types?
What do you mean by carriage PIS?
I guess the what you'd see within the carriages.
It depends, because some of the stuff that goes on inside the carriage is actually quite complicated, and it's different per carriage because they tell you where you are in the train and what you can do on the train and so on. So, there's a lot to consider. Some of them are quite advanced. Some of them are much more straightforward. They're not really any different to what you see on the outside of the train. So, one of the reasons it's not really given great focus is because most people are in this place, and so if there's more dev effort going to be spent, then really it's, for example, making that screen work would be more important than getting screens you can't see right now working. So it's that's why there's not a lot of effort inside. I say there is a lot of effort inside the coaches, but adding the other stuff like the internal PIS is not a priority at the moment.
Yeah, a couple of people have asked about the branch lines as well. So we've talked about this a few times over the course of the last couple of months. We have the Grossenhain branch for this particular route. We are aware that obviously that means that the other two routes that we were talking about perhaps 3 or 4 months ago now are not going to be included in the launch build. We are I think we've spoken about this before in terms of just the scale of the project, and if we were going to do them, then it would probably reduce the quality of the rest of the route. So for instance, again, forgive me if I'm simplifying it, Matt, to a certain extent, if you would get, say, the branch line, then you might not get the lighting, for instance, or you might not get XYZ thing. I'm probably simplifying it an awful lot more than it probably needs to be, but it's a case of quantity over quality, I think.
I mean, there's not a lot of extra kilometres, but there's quite a lot of extra stations, and actually stations and kilometres are the two dimensions that control really what you can do in a route. And the Meissen line and the Flughafen added an awful lot of stations between them, one of which is an underground light baked station, which is that's a nightmare, frankly. That's one of the reasons. And to be honest, we bit off more than we could chew on that one. That's just as simple as you can put it. Right.
Yeah. So when we come to release, they will not be featured. The Grossenhain branch will be, and if there is any other news in the future, then we will of course let you know.
Sooner, is this a limit for consoles of PC? What limit are you referring to, Sooner? What does substitution mean? So, substitution means that it can look at the trains that are being used and find something to swap them with that's similar. So, a freight train could potentially be swapped with another freight train, or the 146 might be swapped with a 112, or with there are a number of other trains that potentially could be swapped with. So substitution allows it to consider what those other trains might be and just swap them in place automatically. It kind of, what it does is it randomizes a little bit what you're seeing.
Yeah. Mr. Weird Fox, any new DLC sales planned on Steam with this release? I don't believe. Well, I'm just trying to think off the top of my head. I don't believe so. We do a fair amount of sales on different platforms. I don't know if there's anything. I don't think there's anything specific for this route. There might be some things that pop up, but I doubt it would be for this particular route.
Right, Riesa is next up, end of the line, and then we'll switch over and do the BR101 non-stop back to Dresden. Just a bit quicker, as you can imagine.
Yeah, and in terms of, I know that we spoke about PS4 at the start of the live stream. A couple of people were saying, hopefully that kind of thing doesn't happen again. It really shouldn't do. Obviously, the changeover from particularly between PS4 and PS5, the complications. I think again, Sam went into a lot of detail. I think in last week's roadmap stream. It was last Tuesday's stream. Just about some of the complexities involved with doing an update like the Rush Hour update was. If you might have noticed that actually Boston Sprinter was playable for most players within, well, quite soon after launch, to be honest with you. So new routes we shouldn't really have problems with. It was mostly about older routes, and obviously there are still a couple of problems that players are experiencing with certain particular routes. We're working with Sony at the moment. I've reached out to a few players individually who are hopefully going to be helping us identify what the problems are, and then we can work with Sony on what a solution looks like. But as I say, we're working on it. Nothing really to update on other than what we've talked about on Friday. There are some, if you've not tried since Friday to get your DLC or your add-ons back, then there are instructions on there on how to do so.
So there's been a bunch of questions. How do you get AFB working on this train? Same way you normally do. You turn it on and then use AFB lever. But if you're already moving, the procedure's different. Let's do a tutorial on that at some point on the stream. Because oh look, freight train. And someone else said, "Oh, the kilometres or stations is the limit. Manpower. That's purely a human resource limit in terms of how long it takes to actually make a route. Stations are time-consuming to make, and obviously kilometres of track take time to be populated in terms of their scenery. It's not a resource limit on the consoles or any other platform in that respect. I'm sure they take a lot bigger routes than are made." But it is much more about just sheerly how long it takes, because all these routes are made by hand. It's not an automatic process. It is purely about that. And I can't remember what other questions I've missed that were asked there. So shout. Oh, I didn't acknowledge something.
There's a couple of people that are talking about the overhead wires, perhaps not being quite as visible as you might like them to be. Is that something, Matt, that's your side, or is it something that we need to take a look at?
Overhead wires become more visible if you can crank up the screen space percentage, but these are no less visible than on other routes, to be honest. It's we have a thank you. There is something we're looking at in terms of being able to make the lines more visible. by essentially thickening them up, so they don't. Because the thing is, they're being faithfully rendered because they're really thin, down to something which is so thin you can barely see it very quickly, because of the pixelation on the screen. And anti-aliasing tries its best, but as you can see, it's flickering because of the way TAA handles things. One of the reasons I don't use TAA normally. We are looking at ways that we can improve the way that it's rendered, but it's nothing that's in there at the moment.
Cool. Nick's asks, is the lighting in core or specific to the route? This is specific to this route.
Yeah.
Zugbeeinflussung.
Yeah, Yol distracted me. Make the catenary vivid pink. See, I'm a fan of this idea, Baked Bean Kid. However, I'm having difficulty selling the team on it.
Yeah, I mean, certainly make it more visible.
Sifa.
Make it more awesome.
A couple of people are just asking if you hit a gnome on the tracks.
Not intentionally.
Alright, so we're pulling into Riesa imminently. Renee has asked, are there any plans to combine Ruhr-Signord and Rhine-Ruhr-Osten? I don't believe so at the moment. Again, if there are any plans to do that, they would be on our roadmap, which we update every fortnight.
No, we share the enthusiasm for it, but it's not a priority at the moment. No.
Someone's asked how long the route is in miles. I believe it's 51 miles, 83 kilometres, including the Grotenheim branch.
Oh, what makes night baking so difficult? So there are a lot of rules that you have to comply with when it comes to placing lights in Unreal. And if you're going to do a light bake, you've kind of got to do the whole thing, because you basically, once you've done light bake, you turn lights off. So then you need to basically get a fully lit scene. So you can't work around any of these rules, which is about how close, how many lights are overlapping, all sorts of these things. I'm not the right person to answer this question. Once you've then set up all of the lighting, and the frame rate is terrible because it's running real full shadow casting lights all on top of each other, you then do a process called baking, which then it's like ray tracing if you're familiar with that, which will then capture the textures and the lighting. And then once you've done that, you can then turn it all off, turn off all of those lights. So it's the artistic time required to set up all of those lights and conform with all the sort of the rules and restrictions to make the lighting work properly. And then there's a good few hours of light baking required to actually then do that job. Which of course, then if you make any change anywhere on the station, it all needs to you need to re-enable all the lights and redo the light bake again. So it's time consuming, and it kind of means you've got to do it right at the last minute, or you end up not being able to fix bugs, which is not ideal. So if I switch back to November again, give it a smidge of cloud, into Riesa, and we're going to be at 11:20. There's a train due in at 11:24, which we'll be taking.
Oh, I don't think we'll wait until we load up. In terms of scenarios, how many scenarios do we have?
6. So
6.
There's 5 that do the usual, and then because we added the 363, the team put an extra scenario in which uses the 363. Once it's finished loading. Thank you very much. No, when it first loads, it's really terrible on this machine. Right. So let's have a wander down. We're at the wrong end of the station at the moment. Excuse my machine while it loads. You can see the iconic signal box at the other end here. And our train will be on this track over there. You can see it's already up on the board. We'll go over there in a minute. Right behind the white line. And we're going to take a look at the BR363 first. No, the red 363 doesn't currently show up. And it's something we can look at in the future. But at the moment, we're focused on the getting the blue one in and everything stabilised. But yeah, it's got the RK900 couplings on it. It's got a number of model changes around detail about decals and so forth, but also this guardrail is different to the red one. I think the interior cab is pretty much identical, so that's that. Let's just climb in. Our train won't be here for a minute. I need to climb up on the back one, not the front one. But yeah, we wanted to do something a bit different. If we're going to put this in there, we wanted to do something a bit different, and so we were looking around and we found the blue version of the 363, which is quite fun, quite an interesting livery, and goes well on the route actually.
Yeah, and just to confirm, the blue livery is that kind of exclusive to this route? Could you use it on any other routes available at the moment, or is it just for this particular add-on for the time being?
I've not looked on other ones to see if the thing with substitution is that things can dynamically happen even if we don't specifically add it to where they all happen. It's one of the reasons I've got a little bit careful about substitution, because it can get away from you. So I've not looked at it, so I'm going to say don't expect it to work, but I'd be surprised if it does. We've not done anything to stop it actively, but we might not have done what's needed to enable it, if you see what I mean.
Sure. And what's the story behind the blue livery? What's its history?
I think it's the older version of the livery. It's the older DB livery before they got painted into the red, and it's even got a different number on the front. So even though it's a BR363, it's got the 261 number on the front as its side. And if you Google up images of it, you can see the this variety of BR363. There's my train. Again, you need this is not included in the pack. This is the you need the DLC plus the Hauptstrecke to make this one work. But the layer is there.
Yeah, we'll be showing off the other locos in the stream on Thursday.
Wait for her to finish her service and then I can take over. Single loco. Yeah, the 101's gorgeous, isn't it?
She doesn't look particularly pleased to see you, Matt.
Nah. Well, she probably had a hard day's work and she wants to go home and do something different, like watch telly.
There we go. She's evaporated.
Right, that's how it works in real life. Reverse that, so get the doors open. Pop around the back here. Put all of those safety systems on. Lights are on. Everything else is okay.
Thomas has asked if there's any routes planned for other countries. Our roadmap, Thomas, is on our website if you want to give it a quick read. I don't believe there is anything currently on the roadmap that is not a German, a US or a UK route. That's not to say that there will not be in the future, but it's just that that's what we're currently working on. It's obviously quite complicated for us to create routes in new places that we've not done so before, because you have to build sort of the infrastructure of all of the signalling, and things are different in every country, so it means it's quite difficult for us to be able to start routes in new countries. It's not something that we would that would be a limiting factor per se. It's just something that we would have to weigh up whether it's if there is enough interest there for us to be able to create something for that particular area.
So someone asked earlier on about how you activate AFB. The process, if you're stationary, is turn it on, Control R, and if you don't have, if you're on console without a keyboard, it's this switch down here. then you set the AFB where you want it. You see the blue line has appeared on the HUD. If I dial up the speed, I can set it where I want it, which will be 40 kilometers an hour, because we'll be starting in the startup program. And then I can release the brakes, apply some power. As soon as power is applied, the brakes release, and away we go. And that's AFB now under control of the train. If you're moving, the process is slightly different. If you're moving, what I'll do is let me just get up to a bit of speed and I'll deactivate AFB. So the route doesn't go to Cottbus, Mario. It goes to Groznyj Cottbus, which is the first station on that diversion, essentially. Right, so I'm going to cut the power. I'm going to turn off AFB's main switch, which means I can now reset everything. So let's say you've forgotten to turn AFB on, and you're driving. What you now need to do: throttle to minimum, AFB to maximum. Turn AFB on. Notice the blue line has appeared. Choose it to the speed you want to go to, which will still be 40 because we're still in start program, and now I can apply power, and we're back under AFB control. It might seem odd to put AFB to maximum, but you've got throttle on 0, so it won't do anything. The key is, if the AFB setting was on 0 when you turned AFB on, it would slam the brakes on, and that's what you want to try and avoid. Wagons and containers, pink ones, branded ones. How amazing is this? I love these. They'll be getting more and more, starting to get more of the branded containers in, and they look so much better than the generic ones.
Yeah, the licensing team are doing a really good job of being able to identify and go out and get some deals with some of the freight containers and all that kind of stuff.
How much convincing? None at all. None at all. I mean, literally, one loved the idea. They came down to the office. This was back before COVID times. They came down to the office. We gave them a demo of the game, and they loved the idea. So the license has been there, and this has just taken a while for all the stars to align and get them done and in the game. So you can bet yourself you're going to be seeing them on a lot of add-ons going forward. Yes, they're different types. I think the other ones are called high cubes or something. LI-150, they're a different type of container.
I don't know the answer to this question actually, David. How much they pay you to advertise their company in their game? I don't think any money exchanges hands. No. Actually, as far as I'm aware, anyway. It's a nice reciprocal thing, really, isn't it? They get to have their promotion in game. We get to have a license of a real life company in ours. So it's a nice kind of reciprocal relationship, really.
I mean, in reality, you're probably going to find that there aren't that many people interested in a shipping company who play train sim. I'll be honest. So
very true.
The advertising value for them is probably minimal. A bit of exposure is obviously, brand exposure is nice, brand awareness. But this is them allowing us to put more authentic stuff in the game. So actually, we thank them for allowing us to do that. Right. Driving at 120 in this seems much easier than 120 in the other one. It's like this train is being held back. It's definitely a racehorse compared to the 146.
Yeah, we're whistling through.
Again, it's stuttering a bit here, I don't know why. I might just need to wipe this laptop and rebuild it. Maybe it's just getting untidy or something.
Yeah, as you can see, because it's autumn as well, you've kind of got the foliage on the left hand side is obviously changing colour. It's obviously trying to pay attention to some of these details as we have done when we've been producing the route as well.
Yeah, I mean, and again, if you run it in the winter, then it'll look different to if you're running it in the summer. You get different trees as well. So you get all the usual seasonal variations.
Cool. Max speed of this route. I don't think we've touched on that yet.
160 is the maximum speed of this route. Yep. 160 kilometers per hour. This
Yep.
is not an LZB route. It's only a PZB route. even on the avoiding line, which some people refer to as a high-speed line, but it's mostly because the high-speed trains go down it. It's not actually a high-speed line.
Yeah.
What its purpose is to get you out of the way of the get the freight train, the non-stop trains like freight, intercity and intercity express away from the stopping services.
Yeah. A few people are noticing the different colours of the changing track as well, which is good. We hope people might notice that.
Yeah. I'll call that out again when we get near it again.
Do you guys get a free rail pass to Dovetail HQ? Oh, if only we did. That would be a good company perk, wouldn't it?
Well, no, because I can walk to work.
Well, I mean, for me,
I still drive, but you know, that's just because I'm lazy.
Where I could, I think for me, it's about a 2.5 hour train journey. So I've never been to the office yet, believe it or not. So I've been here for I've been here for 7 months now nearly, and I've never actually been to the office.
Wow.
So hopefully I'll have the chance to change that in the near future.
Senor Snore says, would it have made more sense for London Brighton to be the autumn because of Britain's gloomy weather? London Brighton will be summer because it's the holiday route.
Yes, it's the beach. You go to Brighton to go to the beach.
Yes. There's nice trees on this route, so we thought this one would look nice in with the focusing on the autumn side of it.
Yeah, and I think, as I say, because we've kind of gone for this theming on the different routes, we will probably do other routes where essentially what we're trying to do is we're trying to make sure that the standout features of the route are enhanced in the best way that we can. And obviously, in terms of the as Matt implied, all of the foliage and the trees in this one, there's quite a significant amount of them, so it made sense to try and turn that one into autumn, because you can show, as I say, that off in as much way as you possibly can do. With, say, London Brighton, having that kind of seasidey feel is quite important, and for the Boston route, it's quite, I don't know, I think of Boston, I think nice kind of snowy winters, and that's obviously that's obviously something that we've taken on for that route as well, and it means I think we can continue to do those kinds of things in future routes as well.
Crazy Killer says, and yet the beach in Brighton isn't even modelled in ECW. No, but you're not driving the trains to drive to the beach. You're driving the holidaymakers to the beach. You're staying on the train.
Yeah,
Get back to work.
That's upsetting.
Hey, no, that's my preference. I'll stay on the train. You go to the beach. I'll just stay driving trains.
Yeah, I'll jump in with you into the cab car, and then I'll hop off, and I'll go to the beach. David Hams asks, is the news beach featured? Well, we'll have to wait and see.
Well, here we go. Another big pause. Come on, laptop. Wow. What is these pauses? I really get the feeling my laptop needs trashing and rebuilding.
How many times has it been rebuilt at this point, Matt?
It's never been rebuilt.
Oh, really?
No. This is as it was when I first got it. Mind you, it's not that old, but then again, I do an awful lot on here every day, so...
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Colin asks, is this the IRL timetable?
Yes, it's based on the real timetable, yeah.
If you are interested in that kind of thing, 2 or 3 months ago we did a stream on how we make our timetables and how we go about the process of sort of putting them into game. Really would recommend, if you haven't watched it already, it's a good kind of hour and a half of how we take something from the very beginning right through to the end and start modelling it. And Michael, who was our guest on that stream, did a really great job of being able to kind of show in practice how that works. So if you're interested, it's on our YouTube channel, and you can take a look at your leisure. I think it's how we make timetables, I think we called it.
Well, AI only services. Well, I think north of Neustadt there's AI services, west of Coswig there's AI services, there's AI, some of the intercity services that run they go up via Grosenhain, not Great Grosenhain, they go north, they end up let me just switch to the map, let's switch onto the other line, then I'll show the map, because we'll be switching off onto the avoiding line shortly, I think. If indeed we have, this is us on the avoiding line now, so the main line we came up the other way on is over here. We're now on the avoiding line, which means my speed limit has also just gone up to 160.
And I think that feels like a good time to put us onto a map. review.
So if we...
Oh, or not. There we go.
Hang on, I pressed 2 buttons at once. That was it. That was what confused my laptop. Right, so on the west here we have Riesa, and we have the little yards here. You do a bit of shunting with some wagons and bring the wagons in 363 up and do stuff down here. You've got this is the chemical area, Weissig, and the siding there, which you manage stuff there. The junction here. At near Priestwitz, which is here, and then you've got from Priestwitz, you've got the single line there up to Grosenhain. Now you can drive trains up to Grosenhain, but some of the intercity services actually run up and down this section, and those are AI only the entire way, so there'll be extra intercity services that you'll see but you can't drive. You then have these 2 routes which run side by side all the way down until you get to just near Coswig, which is here. There's the industries here. These are not currently used in any content. This is the line heading off up to Meissen. Shut up, Safer, I'm busy. Right, down here you've got Radable Ost. In this general area here, this is the narrow gauge railway, if I remember rightly. That's modelled, or you can't use it. You've got the old freight line here, and then you've got the crossings here that get you into Dresden Neustadt. This is the line off up to Flughafen and other destinations. Then you've got the line coming around to Dresden Depot. Some of the services are depot services. This is so some of people are asking about, I think it's Friedrichstadt, the freight lines that runs along here. That's not included. But again, there's some AI trains that run up that way. What happens is you'll find an S-Bahn train runs, or I think it's RB31, runs up here as an AI-only train, and then appears here and stops and becomes a player train then for the rest of the line. Those variations are in there. So there's all sorts of things to cater for all the different services.
Nice one. There's a few questions I'm just trying to go through. So is the avoiding line counted separately or in the total of the track length? I think
separately.
Is counted separately. Yeah. I think the 83 is just kind of the.
I think that includes. I think that is the including the avoiding line as separate mileage.
Okay.
If memory serves.
Cool. Question for you, Matt. In the first news about rush hour, we were talking, and again, I probably know the answer to this question, but we were learning that if we run late, we might get overtaken by trains that were running on time. Is that something that is currently possible or planned, or is it something that, again...
So there's no rerouting, so you wouldn't be like sidelined to let another train pass you. So the dispatcher is not capable of doing that at the moment. The dispatcher is dynamic. There's a big discussion on the forum actually at the moment about the how dynamic is the dispatcher, and I tried to put an answer into there. So if you're interested, I'd suggest you go and have a look at that forum post, and that might help explain some of it. But no, there's no ability at the moment for dynamic rerouting. Sometimes, like on Peninsula Corridor, you'll see where there is rerouting, but that's actually coded into the service mode, where the slower train will pull over at this platform and wait for the fast train to go past it before it's allowed out.
Yeah, a few people have talked about the wires again. I think we touched on this earlier in the night service. They are no more or less visible than on other routes. It's just because I think we're having to compress things a little bit in this stream to improve performance.
They're not
a little
good.
bit.
I mean, I'll be honest, the wires are not good. They're like I said, they're no worse than they have been previously, but neither have they been improved. So we still need to. There's something we still need to do work on. What I will say is, if you have the processing power to do so, pump up your screen percentage. It does make a big difference to the visibility of the overhead wires.
Yeah. Yeah, you should. I mean, you should be able to see them. They are quite faint, but it's to do with the compression on the screen more than anything else at the moment, I think.
I think if we enable rerouting for the scenario planner? Well, it's got to be a capability for the system. And at the moment, scenario planner is too basic to do anything remotely complicated or interesting along those lines. But we have plans for scenario planner, and as and when they become something more concrete, we can start talking about them.
Oh, okay. There were, just to clarify on that last point, there are a few players saying that the wires completely disappeared at one point,
right. Okay.
and
I'll
the
get
pillars. So
I'll get the team on that then.
Yeah, we'll take a look. I'm making some notes.
No, the wire fix that we're looking at isn't actually a route-specific thing, Chief Longshin. It's a system-wide thing. It's a change to the actual way wires are rendered, so that'll be for everything. But I don't know how practical that is at the moment, so we're still experimenting.
So we've got 20 kilometres to go to Dresden Neustadt. Let's go Neustadt. I'm just going to make a point, Matt, of pronouncing something slightly different to you, and then at least one of us might get it right.
So here's an example where actually the sleepers change and the track changes as well. So you can see where the ballast has changed and also the sleepers have changed. And this is what this represents is renovations and upgrades on the line. So where a line or a track is relayed, it'll get it'll get cleaner ballast essentially, and the newer version of the sleepers.
Yeah, again, I use the road analogy, but is say after you see roads being resurfaced, you kind of have different levels and different colours of tarmac, don't you? In terms of the wear and tear, it's the same thing on this.
Would rerouting mean that a faster train is passing while you're held back at a station? That's fundamentally what rerouting is, and sometimes that happens naturally in a timetable, but it won't happen because you're driving slowly necessarily. There are some times actually where trains naturally will just get in front of you because they are on different lines and they get in front of you at a certain point. So as long as depending on how you drive, those ones might work. The system is not rigid in terms of the ordering that everything is done in. So it will let trains get in front of you, but it won't reroute you to let another train go past or reroute another train. You can't do rerouting, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, Lachlan, any active level crossings? Yes, I believe all level crossings are active. Mm-hmm. I think we confirmed that earlier in the stream. Yep. Liam's asked, are there any plans for thunderstorms, hailstorms, tornadoes and hurricanes to be added to weather effects?
Not at this time. We have had some attempts at lightning previously, but lightning can't go in the game until we have the option to turn it off because it can cause problems with people with epilepsy.
Yeah, I was going to say that feels like a warning ready to happen, that one, doesn't it?
Yeah. And there's no reason to. One of the things is that you can put the warning on there and say that, but then that person can't play. Those people can't play the game for in those areas. Whereas actually just an option to turn it off means they can still play everything, and just tailor the game to be comfortable for them. So I'm really keen that that goes in, and that's easy. It's not that it's a hard thing. It's a hard saying to put in.
Chief Longshin asks, anyone else think we need a Meet the Team TSW2 day out? I'd love that. We want Matt and myself were talking the other day about the ability to get more people onto these streams. Obviously, you guys know and love us, of course, but we'd love to be able to get more of the team on some of these streams to show the work that they've been doing as well. I think it's important. We're obviously showing this. I've not put any work into this. I can't really talk about it. I'm asking Matt all of the questions, who has done a fair amount of work on it, a fair amount of overseeing it, but a lot of the people who are actually doing the route itself, we'd love to be able to bring some of them onto the stream to talk about the work that they're doing, and get you guys to meet them. So it's something that we're working on.
Yeah, it'd be good.
Tsunamis as well being asked. I think let's start with lightning. And let's perhaps leave the more extreme weather conditions for a little bit further down the line.
Thunder and lightning, Donder and Blitzen is
Donner and Blitzen, yeah.
That's what would be good to get in there, because the effect that we have, to a point. I didn't slow down fast enough. Whoops. To a point, looks good. you know, and then when it doesn't look good anymore, it looks terrible. Basically because the lightning bolt only seems to go about 100 foot up in the air. I think I got hit by a GPU magnet, because it didn't slow down fast enough. Because it was down to 130 kilometers an hour, which isn't, you know, a major deal, but you can't. I was a bit too relaxed on slowing down there. I should have got slowed down faster, and then I wouldn't have got hit by the GPU magnet and humiliated for the second time this trip. But never mind. It's often enough these days. I'm used to it.
Chat,
I'm going to blame the chat, of course.
Yes, so blame the chat again,
Yeah,
Matt.
I'm going to blame the chat, totally.
We've banged that drum once before tonight. We can do it again.
Yeah, every time, actually. Every time.
I'm enjoying the catastrophizing that the chat are doing at the moment in terms of the different things we can include. We've got tsunamis, RIP Isle of Wight. We've got zombie apocalypses. We've got black holes.
Black holes.
All of those kinds of things. Maybe we're talking about a slightly different simulator when we get to those points, but definitely something that we will probably not consider. Onion Rain, yeah. Again, I can see there being mods for this kind of thing in the future.
Yeah. Trains vs Zombies 3. That's a terrifying prospect, it really is.
Ah. Is Dominus Edwardius, is that Ed in the chat?
It is, yes.
So he said, interestingly, there was a tsunami warning siren test on San Francisco for the Peninsula Corridor, but a bug meant it never actually appeared on the route.
Really?
Apparently.
I'm sure I heard it. Wow, okay. Why is this the first time hearing about this, Ed? Raise a bug.
Yeah, we'd love to get that in game. That's great. Alex has just asked for an update on the PS4 situation. So we have, let's go back to Friday. We believe that Sony have put out a fix that will allow you to re-download your add-ons. So if you go to our website, if you've not done that already and tried to re-download your add-ons, there are instructions on how to do that in there. Make sure if you're rebooting, you reboot it rather than putting it onto standby or anything like that. You actually turn the console off. You can take the plug out if you want to as well, and then restart it. You should be able to then re-download the majority of your add-ons. There are a few that we are seeing a few issues with, but we are working with Sony with a small group of players to try and help get our way through it again, because it looks like there's still a few that are having a few problems. But when we've got more information for you, we will let you know. In terms of the collector's edition, the disc upgrade to PS, for the free upgrade to PS5 players, we should have that confirmed at some point later this week, I believe.
Does the magnet not trigger monitoring? I think that's in certain circumstances. I don't know the detail on that one. It didn't trip 1000 hertz. I think that was the thing. It didn't trip 1000 hertz, which meant that. So I went over the GPU magnet, which is at 2000 hertz. If you hit it too fast. Hence, it brings the train to an instant stop. Right, it's got to 160. .4 to Neustadt.
Once we've gone to Neustadt, we'll be finishing up for tonight. Nearly we go for 2 hours. It's flown.
It's a short stream.
Yeah, well, I mean, you've done some marathon ones, Matt, in the past, haven't you? In a previous life, I've done a few long ones as well.
I just enjoy playing the game. Sometimes I get carried away.
So this is a dev build as well, important to note. This isn't the final build. There might be a few things that that change. Yeah. And we will have another stream for you on Thursday as well with Sam, so expect it to be full of a lot more kind of brusque questions, and we have got a forum thread as well. If you'd like to ask any questions about this route that we've not had a chance to answer today, we have got another live stream planned for you, and we can hopefully go over some of those, and we'll probably repeat a lot of the stuff that we've said tonight as well on that stream. We want to try and give you guys at home as much visibility, as much knowledge and as much information we can give you about the route before it goes live, just so that you can make the most informed decision that you can about whether you want to invest your time or your money into it. We haven't fully decided, Maz, what we're going to be featuring in that live stream yet. We're going to try and cover what we haven't covered tonight, so it is a fair assumption that we'll probably try and do the Grossenheim branch at some
we'll
point.
do a service from Talent to Grossenheim to Dresden or something like that. But post on the thread, tell us what you want to see, not just the questions, but also just like, show me this, show me that, run this.
Yeah.
Tell us what you want to see, what types of things you want to see, and we'll do our best to show you. Yeah,
I come armed with my generic questions for this particular stream, because we want to give people an overview, kind of a very top level on what you can expect. The second preview stream that we do tends to get down into more of the nitty gritty and your requests, so we want to try and make it as much your stream as it is ours. Underground 101 asks, what's the longest of the 3 rush hour routes? I don't know that off the top of my head, actually, Matt. I don't know if you do.
Brighton, I think.
Okay. Obviously, we don't have the full details on Brighton as of yet, but when we do the preview streams, we'll tell you how long it is, and you can make that maths up for yourself.
Well, you should be able to figure out what London Brighton is. It's a fairly well-known route. London Victoria to Brighton. The R101 craves for LZB, yeah, it does. It really does.
I think what we'll do in the next stream, Matt, as well, is we'll take a look round the Dresden stations as well. I think there's a lot of good work that's gone into the actual station itself, and I think maybe we'd rush it if we did it tonight. So let's save it for next time round. Someone's asking what the CIFA button is on PS4. Matt, over to you.
Circle.
Circle.
B on the Xbox.
Are there dioramas on the route?
There are character dioramas, yeah, dotted around, yeah.
Cool.
This is Dresden Neustadt. See that cooling tower in the distance, billowing away.
Oh, and is there a donkey on the route?
No idea. You have to go and try and find it. I'm not allowed to talk about donkeys or show donkeys.
Is it like Fight Club?
Basically, yeah. It's like dioramas. I can't show you them either. I get told off.
Oh, it's confirmed it.
It's confirmed it.
Can we just do a list of the scenarios, Matt, before we finish up for tonight?
Yep. Let's watch this train going in, and then we will go back to the menu.
It's a pretty impressive looking station.
Yes, Neustadt is very imposing. Right, let's pop back to the menu. Explore scenarios. So yeah, Peach and Predicament. A lot of these tend to be around things going wrong. So Peach and Predicament, you've got There and Back Again, which is an out and back run. Follow the Leader. Then you've got Towing the Line, which is a power move. You'll take it up what they call a power move, where you're dragging locos. Wrong Road, where you run wrong line for a bit due to some maintenance works. Chemical Plant Zone is the extra scenario that was added for the 363, where you haul the 363 over and then it does some stuff on there. So it's an interesting little, fairly unique scenario based on the video that we saw with the 363 tagging on the back of the train. So that's the scenarios, and I saw someone else asking about Journey. So training-wise, all the different locos have got tutorials. So there's lots of tutorials on here. And journey-wise, you've got quite a few chapters in there to play with a few bits in each one. One of the things we're trying is more chapters with less in them. So it'll be interesting to hear what your feedback is on the fact that you hopefully get a bit more sense of progression through the journey. So yeah, let us know what you think about this idea of more chapters with less in them as well. How do you turn the cab light on PS4? I think you just have to control the actual interactive control itself directly in the cab. I don't think there's a shortcut for it. And that's it for tonight.
That is it. Yep. Should we get the face cams back on for our little sign off, Matt, at the end?
Indeedy.
There we go. Bet you've missed us, haven't you?
It's the headphones they've missed.
There was someone talking about doing a hot tub stream, Matt, with just you and the cat ears, which I will let you decide as to whether that's something that you would like to do in the future or not. Maybe on your own channel.
Oh dear.
So yes, as we've mentioned a few times tonight, we've got another live stream of this route on Thursday. That will be with Sam and with Matt. We have a forum thread on the suggestions forum at the moment. If you would like to see anything in particular on that live stream, or answer any questions, or us to answer any questions that you have, hopefully we've covered a lot of ground tonight. We've given you at least the basic info, and you'll be able to watch back if you need the answers to anything in particular. But Thursday is another opportunity to do the same, and obviously Sam will be there as well, so there will probably be more shouting, which is obviously more entertaining. Great.
Awesome.
Hope you've enjoyed this tonight, everyone. We will be back, and we'll be doing it on a console on Thursday as well.
It should be on Series X on Thursday.
Lovely. And other than that, everyone, have a lovely evening. We've been going for about 2 hours now, pretty much on the dot. So I think that seems like a good a time as any to finish on. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a good rest of your evenings, and we'll see you again on Thursday.
Thanks very much, everyone. Bye-bye.
Guten Abend.